Hey everybody, it's me, James John, and you're about to see a brand new episode of Crying in My Car. On this episode, we're going to be talking about the countdown that every parent of a senior goes through. That's right, in 3, 2, 1, your child's going to graduate. And have they really been prepared about what's going to happen next? Then we're going to talk about some of the things that kids can do when they're seeking higher education, some programs out there that will help them. So stay tuned. Crying in My Car, brand new episode, starts now. Hey everybody, it's me, James John. I'm here with my good friend Devin, Siebold, former educator, still a comedian, and he's trying to bring you guys some light each and every week right here on the podcast. I am James John. I'm the parent component of this. I'm the guy complaining, and he's telling me why I'm wrong.
I didn't like how you said still a comedian. Like he's like he should give it up, but he's still going.
I cannot say that about you because you, my friend, are currently on a very big comedy tour. Board teachers, we can't make this stuff up. You've been doing some great things with them, so I commend you.
It's fantastic.
You got to go to South Dakota, as you talked about our last podcast.
No, North Dakota.
North Dakota, not South. That's different.
Up, no, North Side.
No, North Side. Actually, we're very proud of you, man. You've been doing some great things, and you still maintain doing some great videos that got you started.
Yeah,
man.
For sure.
You do state of teaching.
Yeah, the state of teaching videos are doing really well. I think it's great. I hope that it inspires some change. I have noticed recently my last one with the school start times that I did. It wasn't my last one, it was a while ago, but the school start times one, that was the first time that actually a few news organizations grabbed it.
Ooh.
I saw some Google alerts my name, and they were like, teacher brings up discussion of start times.
Gotcha.
And I was like, great. I hope more news organizations pick up on this stuff, and we can have discussions about it and put it in the national discussion of should this change.
And it's interesting because that was always something you were passionate about.
Yeah.
We talked about it on this podcast. You were like, man, let me tell you something. That bugs me. The start time.
I hated it.
Gotcha.
Because I lived both. I was a middle school teacher and had an 8:30 or 9 a.m. start time.
Yes.
And I woke up, I had breakfast, I felt rested. The kids were much more alert.
Yes.
And then I went to high school and we had a 6:45 a.m. start time. I never felt rested. I never felt alert. I never had time for breakfast. The kids were always tired.
Yes.
And I was like, this doesn't make sense.
No. 6:45 a.m. start time, you got to just start from that start time, work your way back to when that kid had to wake up, when that kid had to eat breakfast, when that parent had to get
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And literally, it was a little dangerous because it's dark at that time.
Yeah.
They'd have to go to the bus stop.
Yep.
And you really can't see the kids that well, so you run the risk of something bad happening as far as an accident. So I remember those days. Like, that's early. Like, 6:45 is early. Yeah.
Too much.
So congratulations on that.
Yeah,
hopefully,
thanks.
there's some positive change that comes from your videos
I
that
like
you actually
when you
do.
host, James, because you just compliment me.
I do.
Just go on. Keep
going. Yeah. No, but a couple things that I wanted to talk about today, but I want to get into a little conversation first.
Keep going.
It involves you.
Oh, okay.
Gotcha.
Yeah, continue.
There's some new rules that I'm hearing as a parent that has to do with school about when you can take your kid out of school. Like when I was going to school, I was a little kid and whatnot. My mom could take me out of school anytime. If I had to go to a doctor's appointment or something we had to do with our family related, they could just come get me.
Yeah.
Now there's rules in place where it limits when you can actually pick your son or daughter up. If it's after a certain period, you are not allowed to do that anymore.
So, yeah, I first encountered that in the school that my kids are in right now.
Yes.
And it is after 2 o'clock.
Yes.
Their exit time is 3, so that last hour cannot take them out. Unless it's absolute emergency. It must, but they really stress no.
No.
Now, I think it's for a few reasons. I don't know about you, but when you grew up and you went to elementary school, was there a lot of walkers and everybody riding their bikes and things like that? I think it's a lot more car riders now.
Yes, it is.
Parents don't trust society.
We do not.
And they want to go pick up their kids.
Yes.
We live, honestly, like 5 blocks from the school. And we pick them up.
You pick them up? Yes, that's right.
And the thing is that I think what they don't want is from 2 to 3, the parents are lining up. The parking lot's getting crowded. The bus lines, everybody's getting a lot of activity. and they're just trying to keep people from trying to park and back out and in the car. And I think back then it was just, you could just pull up and grab them and walk in and go, hey, it's 2:45. I know they're out in 15 minutes. Let me get them.
Oh, yeah, no problem, Mr. Siebold. Yeah, I'll go get them for you.
Yeah.
But now you're getting all those people and things in places at that time because we all know how busy the car line ride is. Like, it's a whole it's a whole thing nowadays.
But it was one of those things that I just think today too, that last hour is so busy for teachers. We're trying to wrap up. We're trying to get everything done. We got some kids that are car riders that aren't car riders today, and they're going to walk. And then you got kids that have after school activities and which kids going where.
Yes.
It's hectic. It's crazy.
It is.
And it just takes away that element of adding more to it.
Yeah.
I agree with the last hour. Don't check them out.
I would agree with that. But the only pushback is this. When you try to make certain appointments for your kids, they have, let's say they have diabetes, like my son has. There are certain times you have to go to the doctor because for kids, they have to go to a certain doctor to make sure that you're regulating and you're working on that.
Sure.
And appointments nowadays, I don't know, last time you had to make a doctor's appointment, it's you get what you get.
Yeah.
It's
6 months out.
6 months out. Yes.
Yeah.
So let's say that appointment was at that last hour. What's your choices then?
And we've had it. We've had that quite a few times. We tried to check them out earlier, like at 1:50, 1:45 for that 2:30 appointment, and then you just take them to McDonald's or something. But you know, there have been times where I go, all right, I gotta come get you at 2:15, or I forget, or I don't know.
Yeah,
there's reasons that I've had to do it, and it's just got to be an emergency. And every single time I get scolded.
Yeah, you do.
You know,
you get that look.
Yeah,
you walk in, they're like,
"What are you here for? To check them out?" Oh. Yeah, you're that parent.
Mr. Siebold, may I remind you of our rule? Yes, I know.
So after you sign them out, put your head in the gallows. We're going to take a photo. What?
Yeah. Oh, and you're an educator?
That's even worse.
I was going to imagine for you. Like, what do you say?
But yeah, that last hour, I agree with it. In high school, it didn't matter. In middle school, I don't think it mattered. But in elementary school, they're pretty strict about it.
They are. They're pretty strict. And I wanted to talk about one other thing that has to do with school and attendance and leaving. They're big on attendance now. As far as kids missing is what I'm saying.
What do you mean?
Missing too many days.
Well, big as in trying to enforce it, or they just missed too many days?
No, big in enforcing it, even at a young age. Like I have a little nephew, Leo. God bless him. I love him to death. He's in first grade.
Yeah.
And there's days that they have to miss because unfortunately what happens when kids go to school, they get sick and then they spread it and then everyone gets sick. We've all been there as parents and he's prone to get sick a lot. It's not his fault.
My son too.
Yeah, it happens. And you think in your head, okay, if I make him go to school, he's going to get other kids sick.
What, James? No.
Yes.
You have logic. Can you share your wisdom with the other parents?
I'm going to try.
Because they have no they think their child lives in a bubble. And they wiggle that bubble into school and they're not going to get anybody else sick.
It's just going to stay with my child.
Yeah.
That's how sickness works.
Of course.
It does not. So a lot of parents like myself would think, man, if I send my kid to school, isn't that going to get everybody else sick and it's going to create a problem of people missing school? So you try to keep them home. Now, unfortunately for Leo, he gets sick a lot. So he misses a lot.
Yeah.
And he's getting close to the days they say, look, you get an allotment of sick days you can use. He's getting too close to that. So you're going to have to be penalized if he misses over those days.
So penalized in what way, do you know?
They never truly say.
So is it excused or unexcused? So there's typically an excused absence you have almost unlimited of. Unexcused, you don't. And to get an excused, unfortunately, requires usually doctor's appointments.
That's what I was going to bring up.
FMLA, things like that.
Yes.
Yeah, it's hard to get that.
It's rigorous now.
Yeah, well, that's the thing is this stuff's expensive, you know?
Yes.
And to go to the doctors, and a lot of parents don't have the time or the money to go to the doctor. And if your child's sick, I don't need affirmation that they're sick.
No.
You should be able to take a parent's word going, my child is sick.
Yes.
Well, you don't have a doctor's note. Okay, here's my child.
Here's my child. Yeah. So what do you want me to do? It's a vicious cycle. And we just said how hard it is to make a doctor's appointment. And here's what happens. If your kid wakes up sick, to try to get your kid into the doctor same day, it takes an act of God almost, man, to do that.
Do you use Teladoc?
We do.
So I use Teledoc a lot.
Yes.
I think that schools, if your child is enrolled in a school should have a partnership with a Teledoc company.
Okay.
And just pay them a little bit extra money to have it available so that kids are given those doctor's appointments.
Absolutely.
I mean, doctor's notes. And maybe they do need something a little bit more. A lot of parents can't afford insurance. When I went
hard.
to Flagler College, I didn't realize, but until my second year. So my second year, we had a nurse, we had a doctor.
Absolutely.
I never went down there. I just didn't go.
Yeah.
And then I went down there one time because I got real sick. And I walked in and I was like, I'm sick. I need to see the doctor. I saw the doctor. The doctor wrote me a prescription, gave me a diagnosis. And I remember distinctly going, oh, prescription. I need to get my parents' insurance card. And he goes, no. You're covered. The students all have insurance while you're on campus.
Yes.
And I was like, what?
Yeah.
Blew my mind.
Yeah.
I was like, this whole time I've had insurance through the school. And they're like, yeah, you can see the doctor for free here. You get your prescription for free. You get treated for free because it is covered by the school.
Yes.
Why we don't do that in elementary, middle, and high when we clearly have student absences are rampant because of sickness.
They are.
We have kids that are untreated and it really only needs medicine, but they can't afford it.
Yes.
And we have parents that, are getting sick and they're missing job time from them. Their kids bringing the stuff to us.
Absolutely.
And teacher shortage, massive teacher shortage and sub shortage. You don't want the teachers out, so stop getting them sick. I think that schools should cover the kids while they're there.
They would have to.
Even just through a Teledoc partnership.
Yeah. And telehealth, if you guys don't know, that's where you can actually do like a FaceTime with the actual doctor and they can talk to your child or you and you can actually prescribe like what's wrong.
And I've actually enjoyed several of the doctors we've gotten. So we don't have you don't get a specific doctor, you just get whoever's there. But a lot of them are retired, accomplished doctors.
Absolutely.
That like to work from home.
Yes.
And I remember one time my son had a sore throat and it looked like it could be strep. And I took a bunch of pictures.
Yes.
Like really good pictures. And I uploaded them to the thing. And he's sitting there and he's like, ooh, okay, that angle, all right. Yeah, wow. Oh, he goes, okay, so I'm seeing this. And he started explaining everything to me.
Yes.
And my son's sitting there on my lap and he's telling me and he's going over the symptoms. He's going, can you do this? Can you do that? What do you feel when you, and it was great.
Yes.
And he received a prescription right there.
Right there.
We filled it through the website. We went, picked it up in an hour and he was taken care of. We didn't have to go wait in a waiting room, get other kids sick.
That's right.
What if he wasn't sick? And then we take him to a waiting room with kids that are sick.
Kids, yes.
And then he gets sick there. So I love Teledoc.
Yes.
I think it's great, but
we use it as well.
Obviously, you can't click and go, my arm's broke, and they go,
no,
okay,
it doesn't work that way. It's to assist in those minor things that are non-emergency. Yeah. That's what those visits are for.
Give it to the school.
Yeah, give it to the school. But it is not guaranteed that you can still get a telehealth same day.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's not guaranteed.
I've always gotten.
Gotcha.
I literally click need a doctor, and it says, do you want to go in the waiting room and wait, or we'll text you? And I just go in the waiting room and wait, and they're in there within 5-10 minutes.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, it's worked out very well for you.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if that's just the system that they have or whatever, but I've always used the same one.
Gotcha. Good. So telehealth's the way to go.
Yeah. I think so.
Gotcha. So I just had questions about that. Like, have you experienced that with the kids being gone or wanting to leave school early? Because the rules are changing. Like, they're ever changing.
Well, the absences I don't think are as... I think there's more absences. I think there's more absences not because of sickness. I think there's more absences because parents don't care. And they just pull their kids out for family vacations, pull their kids out for other things that aren't necessarily...
That is true.
Mandatory right now. I don't know. It's difficult to not be in the classroom today and give you an honest answer. But what I noticed is that there was strictness about it, but it was also, it could be excused.
Understanding.
And then I saw, I'll be real, I taught seniors and I had some students that would be missing like 4 or 5 weeks and then would come in and expect a grade. And unfortunately, the front office would mandate they be given a grade or an opportunity to recover all that work. And I'm like, you haven't been here. And they're like, yeah, and why weren't you here? Oh, we went, my family took me back to Puerto Rico for 5 weeks.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, do you have grades while you were there? Oh, I wasn't in school. Okay, so you weren't learning at all for the last 5 weeks, and you want the same grade that the kids have been here learning. Okay, all right.
Let me answer what I learned in Puerto Rico. C. You're like, right.
No bueno.
No bueno. All right, man. So today I want to talk about some parent news. If your kids are in high school, you're in a countdown, especially if your kid is a senior.
Yeah.
You know what's going on?
What?
Countdown to graduation.
Yeah, the countdown to graduation is on.
It's on. Yes.
Yep, they're starting to make preparations.
Yes. Now, if you are a kid that wants to go to college, let's say, you've been making preparations for the last 8 months because you've been applying to different colleges. You've been talking to your guidance counselor.
I taught seniors.
Yes.
And that was right about now was when I get can I get a letter of recommendation?
Yes.
And I go, who are you?
Who are you? I was the guy that left for Puerto Rico for 5 weeks.
Okay. All right.
Right. So I was going to ask you also, that's a great point you brought up. When kids are graduating that last year, they're looking for teacher recommendations and letters and stuff like that. Did you get asked a lot about Okay.
I still get asked.
Really?
By old students. They'll ask me, can you give me a letter of recommendation if they're going to a master's program or they're looking for a recommendation for a job? Sometimes they'll ask me for letters of recommendation, and I try to fulfill them. There's been one or two that I don't say I won't do it. I say, I try to guide them. I go, hey, maybe this other teacher is a better fit for you.
For what you're looking to do.
Yeah, because I don't want to also just blanket lie and just be like, I'm trying to help you out.
Yes, you are.
I don't want to write you a negative letter.
And you have
recommendation.
teacher empathy.
Yeah,
you do.
Or I'll say I'm sorry, I'm just a little busy. And yeah,
Gotcha.
So, but you get a lot of teacher recommendation letters, or usually like fill this out for colleges and things like that. And it was one thing. It was kind of cool. The best part about teaching seniors, I will say, 2 weeks out early.
Yeah.
Because the kids would be out of school, and then graduation would happen. Well, school's still going on for like 2 weeks.
That's right.
And I would just be there with the lights off, door locked in the corner of my room, out of view of any windows.
That's when you had the other podcast, Crying in My Classroom.
Yep, that was it.
There you go.
Yeah, but I enjoyed those last 2 weeks off.
Gotcha. Now, you were also a athlete when you were in high school and you were going into college.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Still a peak physical specimen.
Yes, as we all can see. And, it does too.
Yeah, so I mean, a lot of people would look at me, and that wouldn't even be a question, James, as to whether or not I was an athlete. They would just assume.
I did it for the camera. I did it for them.
The audio.
The audio, if you
might
will.
Not know.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Now, as a parent and you're on that countdown to graduation, there's some things that you can have your kid or assist them with that they need to do to get into college if they're seeking to go to higher education. Now, did you do any extracurricular activities?
I had to do a lot of extracurricular. So I was one of the National Merit Scholars, and I got the highest level. So I had to do a lot of volunteer work.
Yes.
And the volunteer work was awesome because I was volunteering at the local zoo, volunteered all over, you know, just little things. But trying to get those volunteer hours, that was a big deal.
I was going to tell people, like my mother-in-law, before she just retired, she ran a hospital. So you can actually do a lot at a hospital to get extracurricular things done. I mean, because it looks great on your transcripts. It looks good on college. It's like, oh, what did you do? Oh, you did that? You helped out in the hospital? You went and you talked and read books to the kids? And
to be honest, I noticed a trend, and I don't know if it's the same. I mean, you guys, if you want to chime in, teachers that are in this position, but I noticed a trend that a lot of my friends that got into the better schools did so not based upon academics. We were on the same level with academics. They did it based upon extracurricular volunteering, what they were doing outside of the school.
That is correct.
And man, that was like the boost to get them through the door.
And there's a lot of companies that will let you intern with them. Yeah. That welcome that, have a program where you can go into a business. But you can definitely get extracurricular credit for doing some of those things, not just volunteering, but actually going to the field you want to get into and just going to intern there and learn. You can get some
they love free labor.
Step up. They do. They do. Now, I actually wanted to bring up some of the things that can help your kid get into college if that's what your kid is seeking. Because there's nothing wrong with people not going to college, but if you want to do that, there's some things you can do to help you get it.
Sure.
Now, I preach this to any parent who will listen. I'm talking to you guys out there. If they have it available at your kid's high school, dual enrollment.
Right.
Dual enrollment is an amazing program. Let me explain what it is. Now, dual enrollment means that while you're attending your last 2 years of high school, your junior and senior year, you can also be taking college credit courses. Yes.
I went to a college. I went to West Shore Junior Senior High.
Okay.
In Melbourne, Florida, and they started us in ninth grade.
Ninth grade?
I was taking humanities for college credit.
Okay.
In ninth grade.
That's amazing.
Yep.
Yes. Why not get those general courses
out of the way?
Out of the way.
Yeah.
So when you go, you have 2 to 3 years to get your bachelor's degree. Now, let me tell you how it works here in Florida. My kids went to a high school and they pushed it. It was one of those things. They really pushed, like, guys do dual enrollment. Why not get a leg up, a step up? Make it quicker on yourself to actually get into college. And they have a great program here where if you get this dual enrollment degree, you get a free scholarship for 2 years to go to any state school in Florida where you don't have to pay for school.
That's great.
I mean, it's amazing. Why would you not, as a parent, and your kid wants to go to college, why would you not get them to do dual enrollment?
Yeah, you push for it. Well, maybe you just don't have any any idea that your kid's going to do anything. You're like, I don't know.
But that brings up a great point.
Anyways, here's a trade.
Yeah, there you go. Well, that brings up a great point, though. As a parent, you should be talking to your kid when they first get into high school. What's your plan?
Yeah.
What is your plan?
Well, you should guide them. I mean, honestly, I don't think there's enough guidance as to what comes after high school. I know that we had a career center where you could go in and apply for
absolutely.
But it was empty every time I went by.
It's crazy.
I never saw anybody. I don't think anybody ran it or worked it. The kids weren't motivated to go there. And I was like, come on, guys. This is where you can sit down on a computer, get everything you need and build those resumes.
Yes.
And also enroll in, online courses too. You can do online courses and dual enrollments everywhere. I went to a private school where I had my English credit at the private school in the morning.
Yes.
And then I literally went to college, physically went
in
to Brevard Community College in the afternoon.
That's right.
And I did, I had 4 or 5 courses and I graduated with more than enough for a AA degree and went on to college. So.
And it worked out well. There's a couple of things that me and the wife did when our kids got into high school. Like, we would make them go to all the career fairs. Career fairs basically when all these different people, leaders from industries come and offer your kids a look into the different career paths they could take.
Yeah.
And it makes sense because you get your kid interested early on. Like, man, I really like that. I think I would love it.
Plus the gift bags.
The swag, the mugs, balls, the stress balls, the pens. Pens for definite days. But we got to also know the faculty at our schools our kids went to. And one of the people that we got to know, guidance counselor.
Yeah.
We definitely got to know them.
Underutilized.
Yes.
I think that guidance counselors are underutilized but overworked, if that makes sense.
It makes
they
sense.
are overworked in the most ridiculous of ways of creating the scheduling and doing all this extra stuff that they originally weren't designed to do.
I understand.
Guidance counselors are less about guidance and more about basic operations and are working for the school as opposed to working for the kids.
That's right.
They should be working for the kids.
That's right.
They should be offering guidance as to what's your plan? Where do you want to go? Let's get this jotted down. Where are you at on your applications? Last week we talked, weren't you? How'd that go? Did you get an acceptance letter yet? No? Okay, well, let's go here. And then
let's follow up.
Yeah, none of that.
And when your kid gets into dual enrollment, that's one of the people you have to talk to, the guidance counselor, because they put you on your academic plan.
Yeah.
They tell you what you need to take to get this.
See, that's huge. I mean, I didn't even know if they were still doing that.
Yes, absolutely.
That's great. I hope that more of them are. I just know that the guidance counselors that I know would be like, dude, I'm getting pulled for testing every day. I don't have time to guide the kids because I'm literally proctoring exams, And I think that's not the way to do it.
No. So I wanted to bring up, not only is there dual enrollment if you want your kid to go to school and you want it to be affordable, because let's be honest, it's not cheap.
No.
It's not cheap at all. And you don't want to get bogged down with a bunch of student loans. You don't, because we're seeing a problem with that now more than ever. So dual enrollment, a way for your kid to go to school for free. There's also AP classes, advanced placement classes. Now, I know. And whenever I bring this up in front of teachers, I always get a mixed review when I bring up AP classes. Now, you made a face, a gesture. Do you have an opinion, Devin, on AP classes?
I hate them because I worked across the hall from AP teachers, and they always had the smallest amount of kids in their class, and I wished fire and brimstone upon them. I was so angry.
Gotcha.
But no, honestly, I thought AP classes could be great. To me, they became a catch-all. It used to be, wow, you have potential to accelerate and be in this class that can get you college credit here at the high school.
Yes.
We need to put you in it. Now it's that one's at capacity, that one's at capacity. You know what? We'll put you in AP.
There you go.
And you had a lot of students that weren't ready for AP, that were thrown into AP, that were doomed to not pass the test.
It's not for everybody, and let's explain why.
Yeah.
The difference between dual enrollment and AP classes are you're getting college credit in high school as well, but there's a test you take at the end of that course, and if you pass it, you pass. If you do not, all that hard work your kid just did does not count.
And the passing rate was so substantially low.
Yes.
That I just thought it was a waste. You
Yes.
have a whole year of classes for one person out of a class of 20 to get a college credit on. And yet a lot of these kids came very close. A lot of them left that class with more knowledge than a typical college student taking the same course.
That's
at
true.
the college.
That's true.
And yet they weren't afforded the credit.
No.
And that just made no sense to me.
And it's soul crushing to
Yeah.
kids because they put in so much work. And at the very end, if they didn't pass that test, if they're not a great test taker, it doesn't count.
There's so many variables in that test.
Yes. So
it's
I'm not the hugest fan
Yeah,
of
it's
AP.
not just what you learned. It's how well you take the test.
That's right.
How rested you are from the night before. How's your current life situation going? Is it going to invade the stress from this test? Is it, I don't know.
Gotcha.
It was just too much.
Gotcha. So you can weigh them both, but they are great ways for your kid to be taking college courses and high school. And by the time they're done with high school, they already have an AA. I mean, you just can't beat that.
Yeah, free college.
Free college, man. Oh my God. I will say I had 4 children. All of them did dual enrollment. Helped me out immensely. Like I still had costs associated with them going to college. Like my son Devin stayed at the dorm. He had the meal program, which is amazing. Yeah. But I will say this, man. I try to help my kids as much as possible because you know how expensive it was for you. But you're an athlete, so you kind of got some perks that came along with that.
Well, yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
But I also did pay. I did pay too because there was times, especially my last year, I couldn't be an athlete because I was doing student teaching.
Yes. So you had to actually go on and to do that. So my son, Devin, he had a meal program. Let me tell you how far the meal program has come since I was at UCF. He had a dorm that had a restaurant inside the dorm.
Wow.
And it was open until 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
And he worked it out with his meal program. There's a way that he could get a 4th meal.
Well, yeah. See, we didn't because we were a small school, Flagler College, and ours was closed at like 9 p.m.
Yeah, 9 p.m.
And even then, our food was so terrible.
Was it really?
Oh, it was so bad. College is supposed to be the time where you get the best food.
Yes.
We had the worst food. I hope it's improved. Flagler College.
Oh, man.
Man, it was ran by Aramark. It was
Ooh,
it was not,
I know a little something about that company.
It was not. There was no outside anything.
No.
We had a sandwich station, an occasional omelet station, and a pizza station. And then they had 1 or 2 items it was literally a school cafeteria.
Gotcha.
And
not a good one either.
And not only that, but our cafe was ran by the same people.
Absolutely.
And so it was just an extension of it. And now you're paying for it.
Yeah.
I didn't.
Yeah.
I wish.
Devin lived a good life because they had Chick-fil-A, Subway.
You know what my sister told me?
Payway, yeah.
My sister told me she went to FSU. They had all that stuff too. She said, and just so you're aware, she goes, there's a cheat code. The cafeteria would be open till 3 in the morning.
Yes.
Well, Chick-fil-A would be open till 3 in the morning. Technically, if you went at 2 in the morning on a Sunday, you could be eating Chick-fil-A on a Sunday.
Come
you know
on.
how wrong that is?
Come on.
It's gotta feel right.
This is decadent.
I just think I would be there at literally 12:01 if as a kid and be like, I can't believe I'm doing this. Yeah.
Shouldn't tell anybody? No. Don't take my picture.
Do you know what day it is? You don't know what day it is.
It is, right? Don't tell them. Yeah.
But yeah, I always envied that. I wish that we had. Well, I wish we had it, but then again, I don't because I was a student athlete at the time, and if I had access to unlimited.
It'd be horrible. You would,
Papa John's and chicken. Yeah. Oh my gosh, you'd have to roll me down the basketball court.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Now I want to talk about some other ways that kids can actually get their career going as well. They don't have to just necessarily go to college. There's other programs they offer now. ROTC is one.
Okay.
Yes, ROTC. My son Noah did ROTC, which is great. It's a pathway if you want to go to the armed forces. Nothing wrong with that. But it is a way to get your higher education because you can do the GI Bill once you get there.
And it provides a little bit of discipline.
It did.
And I was always amazed too at the teamwork level things that they would do. So after school, I would stay and I would work out and I would see them doing team initiatives.
Yes.
And they'd be working together to build something or accomplish a task. And I always thought, man, that's great. Even if they don't go into the military, they're going to have real world skills to work in teams at their place of employment. And I thought it was great.
And that was my son, Noah. He didn't go into the armed forces. He's in college right now, but it taught him discipline. Like my son, Noah, was always a chubbier kid, but he went to ROTC, really loved what they did, and he excelled. And he is, if you see Noah now, he's a in shape kid. Like he really just started exercising. He would wake up on his own and do these things, but he learned all of that in ROTC. Nice. And actually taught him some camping skills. Like he likes camping now. We would take them on these retreats and whatnot. So it really did him a world of good. And it taught him team skills, team building, because you're going to do that in your real life work and career.
Agreed. Yeah, so I liked ROTC.
And they have some really amazing programs out there now, Devin. Do you know that they have a program now where you can go to your high school classes and you can learn to be a nurse at the same time?
I've seen that. So that we used to have, there's like a high school in Polk County. I don't know which one it is, but they actually have a built-in nursing program.
They do. Absolutely. Yeah. So by the time you get out, you can be taking those courses as you're taking your junior and senior classes, and you'll get a nursing certificate by the time you graduate high school.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, nurses make good money.
Yep.
They make incredible money. So that's an amazing opportunity that you guys could be taking right now.
There were some technical high schools too. I wish we had more of them.
We have
where
one
you can start to learn trades early on, because things like cooking, there was a cooking school one, things like welding, plumbing, you know, things like that. We need trades, and a lot of these kids don't have the resources, or sometimes they need to be there for their family, especially because I taught in an area that was mostly Hispanic. They were very family oriented.
Absolutely.
And leaving grandma to go for 4 years to your university was not an option.
Yeah.
It was, you stay home. You have to do something here with yourself. And they understood that.
Yes.
But they weren't given the tools in terms of a proper training of a trade to make that happen.
And that was my next thing I want to bring up is trade schools, because here in Florida, that's where I learned to cook. At UCF, they have the Rosen School, the hotel chain Rosen. They have the Rosen School of Hospitality. It would teach you those things like how to be a bartender, license and do those things and learn that, how to become a cook, because a cook, man, you can go as far as your imagination, as far as one day having your own restaurant, having a 5-star hotel.
I always got paid great.
But man, I paid for college through cooking.
Yeah,
and that's what I love. And I became a chef eventually.
Yep.
I loved it so much. So there's definitely trade schools, learning to be an electrician. We have a school in where I live in Osceola County called TICO. It teaches kids how to become electricians, how to learn different trades and whatnot. So you don't have to go to college, but there's ways to continue your higher education and get a great career.
Yeah,
there's ways to do that. I do want to talk about this, though, because, Devin, you have not experienced this. This is something that I can teach you.
Oh.
It's where the student becomes a teacher.
Okay.
How to prepare for when your kid is about to graduate, my friend.
Okay,
yeah.
So we did talk about the graduation tickets a little bit. So my kids are obviously in elementary school.
Yes, they are.
I'm not ready for them to graduate yet. When they come up to the graduation time, obviously there's some prep you have to do.
There's some prep you have to do. Now, it's going to be a hard time on you.
Yeah?
Because
money?
Well, financially and emotionally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Getting that cap and gown, I bet, is a big deal.
And you're going to have to learn something as a parent. You're going to have to learn to let go.
Yeah.
You had that child's life in your hands for forever.
Well, James.
Yes.
I will say this. I did teach seniors.
Yes.
And some of them I became very attached to as great people.
Yes.
And it was difficult. I felt I felt a brief sense of what I think you go through as a parent, of letting go.
Yes.
You know, seeing that kid, man, you came a long way, dude. I had you in 9th grade, watching you graduate, watching you move on. That's such a huge accomplishment, you know, but being your own kids, I imagine it's just amplified 100 times.
It is. And now here's one thing I will say about graduation that I think some of us have become lax in doing. It needs to be a big deal. You need to make them feel exceptionally accomplished for what they're about to do. Yes. Because if you're not excited about education, how can you expect them to be about going and continuing it?
Yeah.
You have to make it a big deal. Like me and my wife, we go out of our way. We're ridiculous. We are lunatics at graduation. Like they have to come get us, sir. Put your shirt back on. But I wrote my son's name on my chest. Like, we go all out for graduation because we want our kids to feel like they've accomplished something, because it's not easy. It's hard. They have a lot of distractions in their way nowadays.
Sure.
So we want to make them feel good about education. So we set up a reward system for our kids. I don't know what your reward system is for your kids, but when they were going to school, we said we would buy
you food.
We get food. There you go. Devin Siebold.
I feed you if you do well.
There you go. If you do well.
No, I don't do that.
No, you can't. You can't have dessert. Desserts for people who get B's and A's.
No, we do reward systems.
I know.
We do reward systems. Especially they all got their AR points. They all passed their AR thing, and we did a big reward system.
Yes.
And then my daughter, she actually did great on her speech locally at school. And
nice.
that day, I went out and I saw a really cool Winnie the Pooh notebook that she likes, Winnie the Pooh, and I bought it for her. And I came back and I was like, we're so proud of you, and here's a gift. Thank you for doing great, and celebrating those moments. For
yes,
sure.
You have to. Like, we would always make deals with our kids. Like, okay, what do you want? Like, Christmas wise. Okay, if you bring home the grades, I will do everything in my power to get you that gift. And I made that deal when they were little, and because I didn't think they would be able to do it. I thought, oh no, I got this in the bag. I'm not gonna have to buy a PS3. Oh wow. Oh, those are all A's. Like, you didn't miss anything. Like, huh.
Yeah.
So all throughout their life, my kids figured out there's a reward system to life.
Yeah.
If I do well academically and I work hard, I will get rewarded. So that's translated to them with their real jobs. They will work as much as you let them.
The only problem is they never get rewarded. Because I did that with teaching. I worked very hard. And at the end, I was like, PlayStation 3? They're like,
no PlayStation for you.
You get renewed.
Yeah,
you come back next year.
You get to come back and get abused again.
Do this again.
So they did well in that way when we made it a big deal. Education was a big deal in my house. I will say this. Graduation, me and my wife, we have a set rules that we will do for each kid.
Okay.
Like, when you graduate high school, regardless of anything else we get you as a gift, you get $500. Everybody got $500. Yes. Yes, it sounds like a lot.
Yeah.
But can you really, Devin, put a price tag on their future?
You did $500.
Okay, yeah, I did. And we take you and your friends out to dinner.
But inflation, James,
I
gotta do some calculations here.
Yeah.
I mean, since you made the promise,
I did.
It looks like you owe your kids $4,000.
I do.
James.
I do.
I'm reading. It doesn't look good.
It doesn't
look good for you.
Yeah. So when you graduate high school, you would get $500. But here's the thing. Think about this, though. Here's where I'm going to get a little bombarded economically. My kids did dual enrollment.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah. So you got $500 when you graduated from high school, and we took you and your friends to wherever you wanted to go for dinner, and we paid for it. Well, we went to P.F. Chang's one kid because they love P.F. Chang. Oh, yeah.
It's expensive.
It's very expensive.
It's like, I'd like to upgrade to the fried rice. You're like, can we take out a student loan before they're in college?
Yeah, I'm looking at this. I'm using my TI 85 calculator.
Looks like the graph is going down.
Down. So that's what we were doing. When you would graduate from college, here's what we would do. My wife came up with this idea. No matter what year you graduated, she would make this sign, and we would buy enough gift cards to spell out the last 2 digits of the year you graduated.
What?
Yes. So it was like about 20 gift cards.
Yeah.
Good amounts. I'm like, ooh, 50. Ooh, wow. Yeah.
When your kid gets held back and then ends up on a 1 year, you're like, yes.
No, we still have to do the O too. What?
No.
Wait. No. Yeah. No, so we would do that, and we would hold that sign up at your graduation, and each kid got $1,000.
Golly, man.
That's the incentive that we would do for them.
I remember you saying something about that's a lot of money.
It was, but they earned it. They worked their butt off. You got to be excited about education because you need your kid to be just as excited and want to succeed and be successful. So we made it a big deal, man, and it worked out.
I agree with that.
Really
I think
did.
there's not enough celebrations. One thing that I think I as a teacher, I always didn't appreciate, didn't utilize as much, but when I did, I was like, man, that was awesome. Is you'd hand back like an A, and the kids would just be numb to it. And like, good job. But sometimes I would pull a kid aside, and I would just literally go, hey, I saw some of your answers on that last test. I mean, you knocked it out of the park. That was exactly what I wanted. I'm really proud of you.
Yes.
having that sense of pride and relaying it to a kid, the next 10 assignments I got from them would be above and beyond.
Yes.
Because they were like, oh, he has expectations of me. He takes pride in what I do. And I think that there's not enough of that. We're kind of teaching the class, but when you draw out an individual praise, not individual like, come on, what are you doing? Go
positive reinforcement.
Even at the end of class, if you have two kids talking all the time, well, the one time that they don't talk, don't go, thank goodness. Go up to them and say,
I agree with that.
Man, you guys were great today.
They'll be like,
you excelled way. If we could do that every day, I would be so happy. And you know what you're going to get? Better response out of them.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you give people positive reinforcement and let them know what they're doing is great. It's huge. It goes a long way. And it did with my children, man, and they still do great. Now, my tips for you as a parent when this does happen.
I will jot this down.
Yeah, make a big deal out of it. Like I said, you don't have to do what we did. I mean, we just went above and beyond because we were actually good parents. But yeah, no, make a big deal out of it and learn to let go. And let go meaning when they do when they graduate from high school, going on to college, you're going to want to fix every problem they have, and you can't because they have to learn that in the real world, no one's going to do that for you. So when they start asking for different advice, my advice is, well, what do you think you should do?
Ah, that's good. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what do you think you should do in this moment and things? Yeah. There are certain things that you need to get them accompanied to understand too. Like when they take a job or looking for a career, what are the benefits? That not how much money you're going to make, because that's important, but look at the benefits because you'll learn long term that there's certain things that you're going to need. Healthcare, like what are they offering? 401k, retirement, if they still have such a thing at jobs anymore. You're going to want them to look at their career path in those terms because we've learned the hard way that it's going to be important.
I think you do have to really put a lot of responsibility in their hands early
on. You have
on.
to.
I did, and this is so minuscule, but it was just, you made me think of it. Yesterday we went out to eat.
Yeah.
And we went out to eat for lunch, and we were eating at in the Polynesian. We went to the Polynesian resort.
Nice.
We weren't staying there, but we went out for lunch at the cafe. We love the cafe there.
Yes.
And the kids sat down, and normally I go, all right, what do you want? Do you want the mac and cheese? You want this or want that? And this time I was just like, just tell the server what you want. And they're like, what I want? And I'm like, yeah, it's right in front of you. And, I was like forcing them, read it, make the decision. You decide, you order it as an adult. Tell them what you want. And it was one of the few times where one of the first times where I saw them reading it over and going, you know what, I'll take the mac and cheese. And seeing the person go, okay, you get an extra side. Oh, I get another side. Okay, well, let me get, and they're reading it and making the decision instead of me just going, you want that, he'll take this. And I think as a parent, you got to learn to
it's empowering
let them work,
Yes.
Yep.
And let's not fail to mention, it teaches them social skills.
Yes.
They need that. That's sorely lacking in a lot of young people. You let them speak for themselves sometimes.
Yep.
That's great.
And then, James, I hate you.
Why?
Because you reminded me of the second thing. I ordered the wrong thing. I didn't want what I wanted.
What you got?
And Kate's like, just tell her what you want. I'm like, I can't tell her that I ordered the wrong thing. I'll just eat it. She's like, she goes, you don't want to eat it. She still hasn't rang it in yet. Just tell her. And I'm like, I'm not going to tell her. And then she comes by and Kate looks at me. She goes, can I tell her? And I was like, please.
Devin.
And then she was like, he would like something else. So I actually became the child.
Don't look at me. Don't look at me.
But then what's funny is the thing that I ordered wasn't what I thought. What I actually ordered and got wasn't what I really wanted. And it came out as like a salad loaded with arugula, and I hate arugula.
Ooh.
And it came out, and she goes, is that what you want? And I was like, yes. And then the server left because she could sense something was wrong. She goes, are you sure that's what you wanted? I go, yeah, that's fine. And she left, and Kate goes, it's not what you wanted, is it? I go, yeah, it's fine. I love arugula.
Stop. I'm not crying. You're crying. Yeah.
And my kids are like, why did you tell her?
Yeah, what's wrong with you?
I don't know. I'm very introverted when it comes to that kind of stuff. So
I know.
I do not like issues. I will suffer because of my mistake.
Gotcha. You're doing great, buddy.
Thank you.
You're doing a good job. So the first thing is you got to make education a big deal and be there for them, support them. Let go.
Yep.
You have to let go. You got to let them make some decision on their own. Ask them what they would do in that situation. Then if they ask you, offer, hey, have you tried this?
Yeah.
You got to let them grow up and be themselves.
I agree.
Yes. So, Devin, tell everybody how they can follow you.
Oh, yeah. DevinComedy.com for all my upcoming tour dates. And also, Board Teachers has their tour right now. We're on tour.
You're killing it.
Summer is coming up, too. Don't forget, if you need somebody to speak at your school, just message me. Any of my social media platforms. I'd be happy to provide the information for you. And James.
They can always follow me at the same place, same account for two different, same name, two different accounts for my Facebook and my Instagram, James Yon Comedian. That's Y-O-N. Thank you guys, as always, for continuing to message me, to follow me, and to friend request me. I appreciate all of you out there.
Yep, and we'll be back next week. Brand
right.
new episode, Crying in My Car. There might be a clip up there. There might be a clip down there. If it's got our face, if it's other people's stuff, come back. Don't click on that. But us suggested things. That's us crying in my car. Devin, Siebold, James Yon, Board Teachers. Watch. New trailer for Indiana Jones. No, don't do that. Don't do that.